Greetings to Norwegian colleagues and students in all organizations interested in teacher education. I am Alice Oancea, member of the International Advisory Panel for Teacher Education Reform and Professor of Philosophy of Education and Research Policy at the University of Oxford. In this chapter of the report, which I drafted for the panel together with Dr. Karen Hamenes from the American Museum of Natural History, we make recommendations to teacher education institutions and their school and municipality partners about building research capacity for teacher education faculty and school-based teachers. Our panel strongly supports Norway's commitment to teacher education provision that is informed by research in its design and is also inquiry-rich in its processes. We welcome the emphasis placed in the reform of primary and lower secondary teacher education on the role of research in sustaining agentic professional practice in schools. Over our 3 years as a panel, we have found evidence of remarkable growth in research expertise across the sector. At the same time, participants in the events we ran told us that many of Norway's teacher education institutions and schools are still faced with reduced or unevenly distributed research expertise and supervisory capability. There is also relatively uneven use of infrastructure to support and share research, including the master's thesis. Some published reports have also commented on what they saw as low research productivity across the primary and lower secondary teacher education sector, sometimes associated with perceptions of low quality. Our discussions with stakeholders at national and regional meetings also indicated that some documents and practices in Norwegian teacher education may reflect a somewhat fragmented notion of the relationship between research and practice. An important question here is how educators from schools and teacher education institutions may develop shared understandings, thus creating hybrid cultures that support meaningful research collaborations. The regional and national conferences led by the panel offered one model for learning about program innovations and for the exchange of ideas related to research and practice in teacher education. Research from international contexts is rich in examples of school-university research collaborations that show the benefits of teachers learning to study their own practice and the value of creating institutional conditions favorable to their doing so. Research capacity building is multi-layered. It includes individuals in all types of institutional settings, but it also includes organizational conditions and local and national policy and infrastructure. In organizations, it may well include recruitment strategies, but also valuing of research in organizational strategy, provision for staff development, felicitous research cultures, formative internal evaluation, supportive career progression structures and incentives, and adequate infrastructure, including funding and logistics. Importantly, building research capacity must involve school-based teachers and whole school efforts, not only universities and colleges, and not only school administrators or management. These experiences suggest that research capacity building in teacher education is not simply about numbers of qualified staff, not just about volume of publications, but it is also, and perhaps even more importantly, about quality. Quality of engagement with research in program design, curriculum, and pedagogy, quality of partnerships between institutions and disciplines, and quality of student-teachers' learning processes through participation in research. The most successful research capacity building strategies are tailored to specific institutions and local contexts. A strong, collaborative research culture includes a commitment to research as part of the professional identities and value systems of teacher educators and school-based teachers alike. It also involves awareness of the contestability of knowledge and valuing of the distinctive contributions that different types of research can make in education. Solutions-oriented empirical research is important to research-rich practice, but so are also reflective, conceptual, or critical modes of research. The transformation of primary and lower secondary teacher education in Norway demands a coherent approach to research capacity building, our report, based on both our discussions with the sector and international experiences, makes recommendations to Norwegian teacher education institutions and schools in relation to, first, the qualifications and professional development of existing staff, in view of increasing research experience in both universities and colleges and schools, and in connection with recruitment strategies for Practitioner 2 and Professor 2 positions, and with leadership training for staff in the newly merged teacher education institutions. Second, we make recommendations about the financial and logistical support for sustainable research collaborations between universities or colleges and schools, including collaborative research agendas, joint plans for master's thesis co-supervision, timetables for collaborative work, and opportunities for student teachers and new teachers to be part of professional communities focused on research and practice. Third, we make recommendations concerning the infrastructure to support the conduct, quality assurance, and sharing of research across teacher education institutions and schools, including sharing master's theses. And finally, we make suggestions for mechanisms for incentivizing and recognizing research in all institutions, with reference to the principles used in evaluation related to career progression, and to how research engagement is accounted for in the allocation of time, workload, study leave, and so on. The report we produced gives more details on these recommendations. We hope that you will find them helpful and that they will inspire you in creating the most favorable conditions for inquiry-rich professional practice in Norwegian primary and lower secondary education.